This video will demonstrate documenting insertion and removal of a Foley catheter and use of the Cauti tool on the nursing status board. I'm going to begin with the nursing status board and a patient, illness and acute. I have an order that I've already acknowledged for a Foley catheter, and I have inserted the Foley catheter, and now I'm going to document the insertion of the catheter. On the status board, I'm going to highlight the patient. I'm going to click on my flow sheet. I am then going to click on the Document tab and choose Urinary Catheterization Foley. I'm going to put in the date and the time that I inserted the Foley, 10 o'clock this morning, and then I'm going to click OK and be brought into the documentation screen. The insert date, T for today, 10 a.m. The cath size and type, notice the little equal sign. That means that there is an F9 lookup. I will choose a selection from the F9 lookup, and then I will continue to answer the queries. Foley indication is a required query. The little asterisk indicates required queries. We are in the test system, so some of the lookups are not populated. Some of the lookups are not inclusive of everything, so if you enter a response that is not in the lookup, you do have the ability to enter it anyway. This is not a removal, so I'm going to say no to this required query, and then I am going to manually hit the enter key. This is so that the calculated catheter days can automatically calculate from the previous documentation. Now that my intervention is complete, I am going to go ahead and file. And that is it. I've documented the insertion of the Foley. Now I would like to show how to use the Cauti tool to see patients who are on Foley catheters and if the documentation is up to date. At the bottom of the status board, there is a function called Select Board. I'm going to click the Select Board, and I'm going to choose the Quality Board Cauti tool. Then we are launched into a status board that shows information about Foley catheters. We have the patient's name, age, and sex, the catheter type, and the reason for the catheter. The cells are clickable. We have the insertion date, the insertion time, the removal date, the removal time, the catheter days and protocol, urinary UA and UC urine culture results. We are in test system, so these results are not appearing in test. In live, these fields will populate. At the bottom of the status board, we do have an arrow key to shift over and see more data. Pain level and location of pain, any antibiotics the patient is on and their temperature, urine odor, urine appearance, color and patency queries, mental status, and catheter care queries. Notice that on this particular status board, we do have a patient here where the Foley was inserted September 5th, and we are in test. Patients wouldn't really have a Foley for 67 days. However, I can see that the days is inaccurate. This means that there's documentation missing on this patient. In order to update the documentation, I can click on the patient, click on my flow sheet, click on Document, Catheterization Foley, go into the document. Because I don't know the insertion date, I can use my F5 key to recall the insertion date, the insertion time. I can also recall other information about the insertion of the Foley. I can answer the required queries about handling the Foley, the maintenance of the Foley. And as I click through, the catheter days will update for me. So you can correct documentation wherever you find errors in it. This concludes this demo.